In this video, I'm going to cover 5 reasons why you're not making money on YouTube, and I'm also going to show you how to fix that as well. So with that said, my name is Cliff, and if you're new to my channel, then I talk about affiliate marketing and that type of stuff, how to be successful in business. So if you want to, if that stuff interests you, then feel free to hit subscribe and like and all that fun stuff that everybody tells you to do anyway. So with that said, 5 reasons why you're not making money on YouTube, and if you want a shortcut to how to actually get on the right track, I will leave a link below, but let's jump into those 5 reasons right now. Number 1, you're not targeting the right audience, meaning you're not narrowing your focus enough. So let's look at an example really quick. I'm going to use a parenting niche for this example. And if you think about parenting, it's a very broad thing. You could be parenting all kinds of ways. You could be parenting pets. That's one example of parenting. You could be parenting toddlers. You could be parenting teenagers, all these different stuff. But if you just go with parenting, then you're casting a really wide net. Whereas if you narrow down a little bit, parenting toddlers, parenting teenagers, that kind of thing, then you're getting more specific, so you're getting more of a targeted audience to, find you and want to consume your stuff. I'll explain what I mean by going after the sub niches. So for example, if you're going after parenting for toddlers, then people will think of you as the person who knows a lot about toddlers. This can be kind of good and kind of bad, because if you're parenting your own toddlers and then as they grow up and become teenagers, then you won't be parenting toddlers anymore. So if you're going to be parenting toddlers, I would recommend something, maybe you're around toddlers all the time. Maybe you work at a daycare and you're around, people within a certain age range all the time. So even if they grow up and move on, you always have, new toddlers coming in, for example, or teenagers, for example. Maybe you work at a high school. And maybe not necessarily parenting, but maybe you have teenagers, so you know what it's like to be a parent to teenagers, and you also deal with teenagers at school. But essentially, you're always around them, and so you know them inside and out. And those are just a couple of examples. Obviously, there are other examples. For example, maybe you work with animals all the time, and you're always seeing a certain kind of animal come through. Maybe you are maybe you deal with small dogs a lot, and you're always around small dogs. And even if one gets adopted out, you're always still around small dogs, so you can always keep talking about them, and you can always have fresh content and fresh ideas. You see the problems that pet owners go through, so you can relate to them. These types of things. They're very specific. They're not very, very broad, because the more specific that you get with what you're talking about, then it's easier to kind of help people. Think of it like a doctor, for example. A doctor is, kind of like an all-in-one type thing. That's what a lot of people think of your average doctor as. But if you have an ear problem, then you don't think about going to the doctor typically. You think about going to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. They specialize in that one thing. So if you're into the parenting niche, that's cool and all, but if you're into parenting toddlers or parenting teenagers, or maybe you have a child that has diabetes, so parenting with diabetes, that would be specific, but also would allow you to follow your child's diabetic progress throughout their life. So that's just one example of something that I can think of off the top of my head. But if you just go after like weight loss, for example, that's a big niche to go after. Whereas if you go after something like weight loss for women under 40, or weight loss for women over 40, for example, that's a bit more specific. And of course, you can get into more specific exercises. You don't have to go through age ranges. You can go through exercises. But I've just kind of given you a brief overview of how you can kind of go into sub niches and kind of find a target audience there that you can relate with. Main point, on YouTube, it tends to be a good idea to kind of specialize in like a sub niche. At least that's my recommendation. And then that also, but you don't want to go too deep. You don't want to go hyper specific, like parenting teenagers with ADHD and diabetes, who also play video games and watch movies, because that's going to get very, very specific, and then you won't allow room for growth, because you might not always want to talk about that specific thing. So think in terms of growth as well. I think that might be another point, but that's also that's kind of the point of what you're going after when you're going after your niches. Number 2, you're not uploading content consistently. Now, I know this is a huge problem for people. I myself am guilty of not doing this often enough, but you have to upload content at least somewhat consistently. Really, YouTube actually wants you to upload content like every single day at the same time every day through scheduled uploads and that kind of thing. But let's keep it real. Most people don't actually do that. But some good practices are to upload at least one video per week. Really, 2 or 3 or more per week is a good idea. If you can upload a video every day, that's even better. but I would average one every day or one every other day if you can make it. 2 or 3 a week is a pretty good aim for as well. It's virtually impossible to completely satisfy YouTube's algorithm, unfortunately, but that's just kind of the way YouTube is. They're kind of a pain to work with, but you do want to upload frequently, minimum one video per week, and that's at least a good start. And then, of course, you can scale up if you want to, but don't try to overburden yourself and try to go for a schedule that you cannot keep. Personally, my recommendation is to actually create a schedule for this kind of stuff. So for example, I put together this timeline here that can give you an idea of what you can do. Obviously, you can modify this to your liking. You don't have to do it this way. This is just one possible timeline that might work for some people, but it just kind of gives you an idea of how you can kind of schedule things out. So for example, on Monday and Tuesday, maybe you might want to make a list of video ideas that you can possibly do. Then you can narrow them down and, maybe from 10 to 5 or from 5 down to 3 or however many you plan on doing. Make a list of ideas so they narrow those ideas down. Then on Wednesday and Thursday, you can plan out the topics in more detail. Maybe you might want to make bullet points. Maybe you might want to make presentation slides. Or if you're doing a tutorial, you can plan out how you want to, record that tutorial. Or maybe you're making a vlog, you can plan out what you want to talk about. Just plan out the general concepts of, what you want to talk about. That way you're not turning on the recorder and then having no idea what to say, because people don't want to watch people just rambling on. Some people might like that every now and then, but that's not necessarily what they're going to come there for. You need to be able to turn on the camera and have some idea of what you want to talk about. And then on the weekend, you can record and edit your videos. You can also create the thumbnails and finally schedule them out to whenever you want them to go live. Now, again, this is just a suggestion. You can obviously redo this any way you want. I just kind of wanted to put something together to kind of give you an idea of a framework that you might want to follow. Maybe you want to do this Monday through Friday and do other stuff on Saturday and Sunday, but I'm just, again, giving you a rough idea of what you could do. Number 3. Your video and or your audio are low quality. This is something that people still mess up quite often, even though over the years things have improved a lot, but I do want to go over this stuff because this stuff is very, very important. So your video needs to be in high definition, which these days is pretty easy to do because every screen recorder on the planet is high definition out of the gate, at least 720. On top of that, every single smartphone on the planet these days has high definition recording through the cameras, so you have high definition cameras everywhere around you these days, in the palm of your hand and in your pocket. And speaking of that, if you're going to record yourself with your camera, then you need to have a clean background. You don't want to have a bunch of Coke cans in the background and a bunch of trash in the background, because that's just going to make your video very distracting and just make it look very unprofessional. You don't have to have some big backdrop and big fancy stuff in the background, but it needs to look at least decent, or even if it's just a white wall, that's fine. Try to have decent lighting on you. Try not to be just in pitch black, but or if you want to film it outside by a tree, that's fine too. Really quick, I want to address if you have text on your screen. So for example, if you're editing your video and then you made a mistake in your video, or you meant to say something else and you want to put text on your screen to make the correction, or to clarify, this is what I meant when I said this, then make sure to make the text not where it's overpowering the video, but not also so small that people can't read it on their phone, because some people will be watching your videos on their phone. So make it readable text. Don't go crazy with it. You can experiment around with it a little bit, get feedback from people, but make it a decent size, but not overpowering. Also, don't make it in like a font that's incredibly difficult to read, because if you select cursive, for example, and whatever font that you may like, then if other people can't read it, it doesn't matter. But what you select, that if your audience can't tell what your text says. Some texts have very weird fonts that are virtually unreadable, but they kind of look fancy, and some people like that. But that's generally not a good idea to do. Also, you need good sound. So if you're getting started, your microphone on your smartphone should do fine, but really you need to upgrade to a better microphone if you're going to do this long term. So for example, the microphone that I'm using right now is about $100, I think, on Amazon, and they've actually come out with a newer model since I got this one, and I have no idea what that was priced at. I haven't looked, but this one does me fine. You can see it on my screen. This is the iRig Mic HD that I'm currently using, and I like it because it has minimal background noise. It has a little switch on it, a little knob on it that you can kind of help drown out some of the background noise. That doesn't mean that you want to film next to a train, though, just because you have a decent mic. No, you want to have minimal background noise as much as possible. And, if you can film in a quiet area or a place away from wind, away from dogs, away from kids, that is ideal. Number 4, you're taking too long to get to the point. Now, if this describes you, don't feel bad. This happens to all of us, especially if you're new to making videos. It does take some time to kind of find a way to get to the point faster. But here's my suggestion. Find a way to create a structure. Know your topic ahead of time that you're going to talk about. and then create a few talking points that you have in mind before you start recording. So for example, even if you need to get like a sticky note and write down, okay, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about this, do it that way. That will be a starting point. Or if you want to get a little bit more in depth, then you can maybe write down, I want to talk about this topic, and then you can write down 2 or 3 talking points about that specific topic that you want to talk about, which is, helps you actually get your ideas and thoughts structured even better. Main point, make a few notes, have an idea of what you want to say ahead of time, that way you're not rambling so much, and that will definitely help you get your point across better. Number 5, you're relying on AdSense monetization to make money on YouTube. Please stop doing this now. Unfortunately, I see so many people going after AdSense when AdSense is honestly the last thing you should be going after. It is like anybody who's making a full-time living on YouTube can tell you, AdSense, they do make money off AdSense, but it's definitely not going to pay all of your bills unless you're getting a ton of views. And even people who are making loads of money on AdSense, on YouTube, even they don't put all of their eggs in the AdSense bucket. The reality is AdSense just does not pay out that well these days. It does not pay out nearly as well as other things like affiliate marketing can. And I would never, ever, 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 ever tell somebody to only rely on AdSense. First of all, just getting the ability to unlock AdSense, you have to hit 1,000 subscribers as it currently stands. And I think it's like 4,000 hours of watch time. So already just getting to that point is going to take you a while. And then even when you do unlock AdSense, your videos can be demonetized pretty easily, so all that work for essentially flipping a coin and hoping that your video gets monetized, no thank you. In reality, what you need to be doing is you need to be monetizing your videos in other ways. So for example, I monetize my videos through affiliate stuff. So I have a link in this video description where you can go see how I make money through YouTube. And I'm an affiliate for that product. That's one way that you can make money on YouTube. Some people have sponsorship deals. Some people, actually, those are the main 2 ways. Some people sell their own merchandise through their own merch store. All of these ways are going to make you more money than AdSense. And not to mention, you can start, getting referral links for different programs and things like that way before AdSense ever kicks in, and you can actually start making a higher return on your investment than you would if you were, competing with AdSense. So for example, 500 video views with AdSense is going to get you maybe a few pennies if you're lucky. It's going to get you virtually nothing. It's not going to even be worth the 500 views, to be honest with you. Over time they do stack, yes, but it's such a pitiful small amount that it's just not really even worth bothering with AdSense, to be honest with you. Now, if you take that same video and you are an affiliate for something and you drive traffic to an affiliate offer that is related to your video, then you're much more likely to get some sales from those 500 views. You will make, dare I say, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times the money that you would from those same views if you're just relying on AdSense. What sounds better? Maybe 5 cents or potentially hundreds of dollars off of a 500 views on a video. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to get rich off of doing that by any means, but the more that you build your channel up, you can do a lot more with affiliate marketing with a smaller view count than you can with AdSense with even a bigger view count. Main point, stop making AdSense your target and your goal for your YouTube channel, because you will be far more profitable if you focus your YouTube channel around product creation, for example, or like I do, affiliate marketing. And with that said, if you want to know how I do what I just said, how I earn money through my YouTube channel without relying on AdSense, click the link in this video description and it will set you on the right path. With that said, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you around in the future.